Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 809A, and today's date is November 4th, 2015, and the title of this episode is Fed Pushing Negative Rates as the Economy Collapses Further. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, it looks like the high-frequency traders, the plunge protection team, they were having a very difficult time keeping the market up today, and it finished down, as we can see. And more economic indicators are coming out, more data is coming out, letting us know that the economy is not doing as well as the U.S. government central bankers want us to believe. ADP has come out with their numbers, and we're starting to see that even the private sector right now, things are not looking good. I mean, manufacturing jobs, they dropped by 2,000 more. And as we know, going back to 2008, the manufacturing arena has lost millions of jobs. Of course, those are being replaced with part-time work. And as we go forward, we're continually seeing more and more layoffs. And it's going to get harder and harder to cover all this up. Yes, they can have people drop off. They can pretend they don't exist. But eventually, when you have the majority of the people not working, you really can't pretend that they don't exist or don't have jobs anymore. And it's going to get more and more difficult. You have to remember, about 100 million people right now are looking for work. And when we look at this, we see there's more layoffs coming. I mean, the layoffs have not stopped. Actually, they're accelerating right now. Cushman and Wakefield, they're saying they're ready to announce layoffs. Maersk Line International, 4,000 jobs. Mack Trucks, they're getting ready to announce layoffs. Alcoa, 500 layoffs. Standard Chartered Bank, 15,000 jobs. It's continually ongoing. And as we come out of this year of 2015 and we move into 2016, it's just going to get worse. And we're starting to see that all of these bubbles, they are looking a lot like 2008 right now. Especially in the auto industry. Scapos Financial, the subprime auto lender, they've been busy packaging all manner of questionable auto loans and offloading credit risk to investors. Sounds very familiar to 2006, 7, 8 with the housing market. I mean, Scapos sold about $150 million worth of paper backed by a collateral pool, wherein 20% of the loans were made to borrowers with credit scores ranging from 351 to 500. In other words, a fifth of the loans backing the deal are the least creditworthy borrowers in the country. And if we look at these auto loans, we see that an average loan term for new cars is 67 months. I mean, I remember when it was 36 months, then 48, then 60. We're hitting 67 now. On used cars, it's up to 62 months. Loans with terms from 74 to 84 months are now up 30%. I mean, these are all new records. And America's auto loan bubble has reached $1.1 trillion. I mean, back in 2011, the whole reason this Scapos Financial institution opened its doors, they had one goal in mind, and that was to go after the deep subprime auto loan, make it easier for people to get financing, and then package these loans. Seems very, very familiar to the housing practice that we saw before 2008 when everything came crashing down. And it seems like this is all part of the same thing right now because they need to keep these bubbles continually inflating. And you know what happens to bubbles? Eventually they pop. We can pretend, we can make up all different reasonings why they won't, but in the end, the same thing always happens. We saw it in 2008. Everyone was telling us it's impossible to happen. Housing never goes down. There is no bubble. There is no recession. The forecast and the models show us that there's absolutely nothing. And this was the same year the Fed was telling us that there's no problems, everything's contained, when the whole entire market came crashing down. Manufacturing is continually declining. We have seen no improvement whatsoever. What we're seeing here is people are not purchasing goods. There's no reason to manufacture. The Baltic Dry Index, it dropped again by 23 points. Now we're down to 657. And for those people who don't understand this, this is the raw material that factories use to create products, to ship out to stores, to other businesses. And what we're seeing is that the factories don't have to produce anything because people aren't purchasing. Businesses are not purchasing. And normally at this time, approaching this holiday season, the Baltic Dry Index is 14, 15, 1,600 points. Factories are producing, building up inventories, getting ready for the holiday season. We are not seeing this whatsoever. The housing market right now is continually falling apart. The number of mortgage applications in the U.S. fell for a second straight week. We started last week at 3.5% decline. This week it's a 0.8% decline. And you have to remember, this is when interest rates are at their lowest. And yeah, of course they can go to negative. But think about this for a second. If interest rates went up just a little bit, it would knock so many people out of the market. Applications would completely crumble apart, and the whole thing would just implode. And we're starting to see ripples and cracks in the real estate market. We already see that houses, their prices, they're leveling off and starting to come down. Houses are staying on the market longer and longer. Now, is this happening in every single place? It doesn't happen in the country all at the same time in every single place. That's just absolutely ridiculous. So yes, we're going to see pockets where these things start to occur. Where the prices level off, they start dropping. It gets harder and harder to sell homes. Then it spreads to the rest of the country. We saw this back in 2008, where one part of the country was doing absolutely fine, and other parts of the country, people were just leaving their homes. And then guess what happened? It spread all over the place. We are seeing the same thing right now. Now we know that Fannie and Freddie, they rolled out their new Home Ready program, 3% down or 0% down depending on the bank, depending if you're going with a new construction house, a newly constructed house. Most of the time they'll allow 0% down, no closing costs. A lot of the banks are starting to go to 0% down. If you have a heartbeat, they'll give you a mortgage. And then all of a sudden, we learn that Fannie and Freddie are now at risk. How could this be? Right now, they're saying they might need an injection from the Treasury because they had a quarterly loss, and this is going to be a problem. Right now, they're calculating on their third quarter loss of about $475 million. And you know what's going to happen. This number is low right now. You know this is going to increase as time goes on. So, we're already seeing signs the housing market is starting to fall apart. The hedge funds, the investment companies that are using the free money to walk in and gobble up houses using cash, this is falling apart. Foreign investors, they're no longer coming in and purchasing homes in cash like they did. They're still doing it, but not in the amount they were doing it before. They're tapering off. And they were hoping that the American people would pick up the slack, but guess what? We're seeing people lose their jobs. If you're losing your job, you're not going out to purchase a new home. If prices are starting to fall, people are sitting back going, whoa, wait a minute. Why am I going to buy at the height of the market? Let's see what happens. Plus, I'm hearing rumors that there are layoffs in my company. This might not be a very good time to purchase a home. Now, the Fed is out there and they're saying, and we heard rumors going back a couple of weeks from different Fed chiefs saying that negative interest rates might be something we might want to look at. And all of a sudden, Yellen comes out and says if the outlook worsens, the Fed might weigh negative rates. So a couple of weeks ago, they've been laying the groundwork, throwing out a little breadcrumbs, letting everyone know that this could be a possibility. Yellen comes out and says, yes, if the outlook worsens. So wait a minute, let me get this straight. From the Fed minutes, they're saying that unemployment looks good, housing looks like it's recovering, retail, 2 thumbs up to that. The economy looks like it's on the right path, everything's strong. Why in the world would the Fed all of a sudden come out and say, okay, if the outlook on the economy starts to worsen, we might have to go negative? That doesn't even make sense, because the unemployment right now, if you believe the government, is at 5.1%. I mean, we know this is going to drop further. We know they're going to manipulate it. Most likely it'll hit about 4.9 by the end of this year, maybe the start of next year. And all of a sudden, they're worried. And Yellen was also out there saying negative rates could help encourage banks to lend with a negative interest rate. I don't know, I have a hard time wrapping my brain around this one. When you loan money, don't you want interest on that? And if it's negative, what interest rate are you going to charge the people? Well, I guess they could charge them 3%, but is this really going to help? Not really. People are not going to go out there and all of a sudden say, let me take out more loans. They don't realize that the people in America, they're tapped out. They're worried about keeping their job. They're hearing rumors in their business that there could be layoffs. They're seeing friends get laid off from companies. If we go back to June of 2014 to this year, we are approaching 1 million layoffs, which is very close to the amount of layoffs in 2009, going from 2008 through the year of 2009. So we are in the same position that we were in 2009, and that was the Great Recession. And now we're worse off because we have the housing bubble, the auto loan bubble, the student loan bubble, the stock market bubble, the treasury bond bubble, the derivative bubble. Everything is in a bubble. And everything has been pushed and inflated by the central bank. The American person is sitting on the sidelines, and everything is being manipulated to make it look like everything is okay. But below the surface, it is a complete and utter disaster. Now, China came out with an interesting statement, and they're proposing a phase-out of manipulative trading algorithms. China's government is seeking public opinion on limiting the use of automated trading programs in the stock market. It plans to tighten access and also review the mechanisms behind automated trading systems and would authorize stock exchanges to levy extra charges on such automated systems. Computerized trading algorithms began taking over the stock market. They're saying their markets are no longer really traded by humans anymore. Over 75% of the trading is done by computer systems. Where are the humans? It's supposed to be a human market. There are no humans left. Same thing here in the United States. So right now they're saying, you know something? This shouldn't be this way. Now, what are the extra charges? Why are they going to levy these extra charges? Who are they going to levy them on? What groups are they saying can't have automated trading? We're going to have to wait and see. Now, just because I talk about Russia and China doesn't mean I always agree with everything they're doing. But when we look at this, we have to scratch our head and say, why are they looking at this right now and discussing getting rid of automated trading? Well, they can be manipulated, first of all, very easily. The systems can be set up to trade any way they want. A virus can be downloaded into the system and then controlled. Is this one of the reasons why they're saying, you know something? We might want to get rid of computers doing the trading. Here in the United States, we see the high-frequency traders, the plunge protection team. These computer systems are continually manipulating the markets any way they want. Actually, it's not even a people-driven market. It's not a corporate-driven market. It's a computer government-driven market. So we can see right now they're going in this direction. Now, Obamacare, we know the co-ops are failing. And I just wanted to say, since October 1st, 7 co-ops completely failed. Since October 1st, Tennessee, Kentucky, Oregon, Colorado, South Carolina, Utah, Arizona, completely a disaster. And then we had Iowa, Louisiana, Nevada, and New York. Obamacare is completely failing. All these people are left out in the cold. They can't get insurance. And it's just getting worse as time goes on. Now, we understand Obama is continually bringing in the illegals. And a recently leaked internal DHS memorandum has now revealed that the Obama administration is planning to circumvent U.S. District Judge Andrew Hanen's February 16th injunction that blocked the president from his memorandum, or some people say executive action, to grant amnesty to 4 million illegal aliens. So after Judge Hanen issued his injunction, the Obama administration appealed his decision at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit in New Orleans, but the court decided on May 25th to let the judge's decision stand. And then they had another hearing in August, and it's still standing. And what we're seeing right now is that what Obama is trying to do is in direct violation of Congress's Immigration and Nationality Act and works to dramatically subvert our carefully wrong visa system. So he's actually breaking the law at this point with an executive action or memorandum. He's going against Congress's Immigration and Nationality Act. And he's trying to go around the judge by issuing employment authorization documents, having the people say, okay, even though you don't have amnesty, you can still go and work. I mean, which is absolutely ridiculous. So we can see right now all of this is being done to continually prop up the economy, to make sure that the economy stays afloat until the United States government central bankers can push some type of an event through where they can blame the collapse of the economy on another country or group. This is all we've been seeing. And you can see they've been provoking countries around the world continuously to try to get something started. And this is what the government is doing right now. Now, we understand that the 2016 presidential election is approaching, and we see a lot of candidates out there all pushing their different agendas and things like that. But I'm listening to all these candidates, Republican, Democrat. I don't really care about either one of them. If we have a government, what I would like is a government that works for the people, that listens to the people, and pushes and creates laws for the people that benefit the people. So I'm neither. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not anything but for the people. That's it. That's all I care about. And when I hear all these people, these are certain things that I would like to talk, like these candidates to talk about. I would like them to talk about the national debt and how we're approaching 18 trillion, and we're going to go over this by the time the elections run around, probably about 20 trillion. I'd like them to talk about how the government is on the verge of bankruptcy. I'd like them to talk about black budget spending, how it's costing the American taxpayer about $52.6 billion every year to be spied on by the 16 or so intelligence agencies. I would like them to talk about the cost of war, on how much it actually costs and why we are in war. I'd like them to talk about asset forfeiture. You know, that little law that allows the police to confiscate your property, even though you might not even be connected to any type of criminal activity, or you're not even guilty of a crime, and they never give your property back. I mean, that's something we should talk about. We should talk about surveillance and how we're being spied upon through phone calls, emails. We need to talk about how our government is now an oligarchy, where we're no longer a representative republic. The U.S. has become a corporate oligarchy. I mean, this is coming from a Princeton University survey, which indicates our elected officials, especially those in the nation's capital, represent the interest of rich and powerful rather than the people. I want to talk about the militarized police and how they're just storming into people's homes without warrants, dressed up like the military. I also would like to talk about the central bank and why are we allowing the central bank to create currency out of thin air, then loan it to the government with interest, especially when the Constitution says the U.S. government has the ability to create its own currency without interest. How come none of the candidates talk about any of the real issues? Some of them touch upon some of them, but these are just a few. There are many, many more. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.